Tesla stock is on a major run, but what's even more rewarding is when big names like Tom Lee, Director of Research at Fundstrat, gets on board. Not only is Tom now forecasting a strong year and rally for the market overall, with Tesla, he's surprisingly now calling it undervalued. Fundstrat just launched a new large cap ETF, and guess which is his top pick out of 20 to 50 positions? Yes, Tesla. He's calling Tesla having a hidden asset of AI. I've got Larry Goldberg here with me. We'll watch a video of Tom Lee and explaining what it is he's doing and why Tesla is now his top position. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you. Great to be here, Herbert.
So Fundstrat, Tom Lee, very well respected in the market. Interesting that he's now talking Tesla, but creating a new ETF too, large cap. So first, we'll watch his video. The first bit, his projection that the year end is going to have a really big rally for tech in general. And then he talks later, second half of his video, the large cap ETF that he created, why he picked Tesla, and what he thinks Tesla's a big deal. So let's watch this.
Tom Lee is our headliner today. He joins us now. He's the managing partner, of course, and head of research, also a contributor. It's good to see you again. Thank you again for helping us guide our investing viewers through election night. It was good having you. So what do you make now? You've had a chance to digest a little bit of what's happened. Yesterday was, felt euphoric. Now what?
Well, yeah, first of all, Scott, thank you for having me on election night. It was historic, and I really enjoyed it. The move yesterday, 3%, the best move in the history of any post-election rally, I think needs to be respected because it really highlights one of two things or both. One is that there was so much de-risking into that election. Actually, it was unusual. We actually fell 2 weeks into election day. That happens like about a third of the time. And the second is that animal spirits could be unleashed because of the interest and belief that there's deregulation and mergers and a pro-business environment. So I think it's a very respectable move, and I think it sort of argues we have 5 to 10% upside into year end.
At what point, though, do you get on board with Barry Bannister's idea that the train could be leaving the station heading, full speed to Crazy Town?
Well, he's sort of structurally correct that, this market top is not going to be because of someone's going to have a problem with PE or because a recession's going to happen. I think it's very likely, in the next 6 months, the top is because either firepower is exhausted or expectations have become unhinged on markets. We can measure either, right? We can look at margin debt. That's just been flat for the last 4 months. So the market's been up, and most investors have been de-risking. That's fuel for me, upside fuel. And when you look at sentiment readings, it's not extreme. In fact, the VIX was elevated and only normalized yesterday. So I don't think sentiment's extreme.
Gosh, I was just going to ask you about the VIX. It's funny you went there. I'm staring right at it. I mean, it's down 30% on the week. At just a full-blown collapse, right? Don't forget, we were above 20. I think we were at 22 at one point last week. We're barely above 15.
Yeah, it was actually very interesting to look at the VIX futures curve. But on election day, the VIX futures curve was over 20 all the way through August of next year. It should be around 15, 16. The markets were pricing in tumult and uncertainty for like 9 months, 10 months. So I think there's a huge amount of re-risking taking place. I don't think people got their exposure yesterday and today.
I mean, look, you I know, thought that we wouldn't know the outcome of the election for many weeks. I think that was your base case coming in. So I think there's a lot of surprise, rethink, as we look at where this market might be able to go. On that note...
Yeah, let's pause there. So what do you think, Larry? He's being very, very bullish. It's great to hear Tom Lee, how he thinks and what metrics he's following. But do you think that the way he's guessing or he's forecasting what's going to happen to the stocks market's going to keep going up, bullish?
God, if Tom Lee is bullish, who am I to be bearish? I mean, you don't get a better stock picker than that or analyst than that. I'm not as optimistic as he is. I'm watching bond yields. Bond yields are, 4.2. I mean, that's not looking like, the market's going to take off. But and it's going up, by the way. So I'm not as bullish as he is, and I think that we're going to find after when we get into the new year, and there's going to be positioning by the new Congress and the president, and so I think there's a while before we settle down, and then that's from the political side. The macro side, I think, we are coming out of what Kathy Wood calls a rolling recession, so it could be that there's a little bit of upside, and so in that vein, he may be correct. So I don't know. I'm very nervous of this market. That's it. I'm very nervous of this market. He's not. I should gather my courage.
We've been in a down market for 2-3 years now. You've got the interest rates being cut. You just heard Fed Powell being very optimistic himself. He's continuing to believe.
That doesn't give me any courage.
Okay. I guess if interest rates, the narrative is that interest rates will continue to be cut. And I know there's some concern about job cuts and whether or not we're not through the woods or anything like that.
Yeah.
But large caps, technology is taking over. And
Look,
okay,
large software companies are doing very well.
Yeah.
Government employees are doing very well. And there are a lot of them, and there are more of them being employed all the time. We're at the peak of government employment not seen since Clinton. So, yeah, there are components of the economy that are doing very well, which means to say that at the current level of growth, there are huge swaths of the economy, principally manufacturing, that are doing extremely poorly and are in recession.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that a good platform for growth? I don't know.
Okay, let's go back to the Mag 7, the top large cap ETF. Fundstrat here, Tom Lee created a brand new large cap ETF, and Tesla's right at the top.
You do have a new ETF, which I want to talk about. It's called the Fundstrat Granny Shots U.S. Large Cap ETF. Granny Shots being that you think these would be a little bit easier to make, right?
Yes, that's right.
How'd you build it? We're talking about names. I hope we show this. I think we have produced this up. Tesla, Goldman, JPM, Johnson Controls, Caterpillar, Emerson, TransDigm, Eaton, Oracle, Ingersoll. That's the top 10. But how'd you build that?
The Granny Shots ETF is really built upon the research model we used at Fundstrat. That was a thematic core stock portfolio that we had been using since 2019, so for 6 consecutive years. It takes 7 what we consider relevant market themes, and it finds the most correlated stocks to those themes, whether it's AI or millennials or Fed easing or improving PMIs, and then the stocks that appear in the most frequently across themes are our Granny Shots. And Granny Shots is named after Hall of Famer Rick Barry's way of shooting free throws.
Some of us do remember that. We definitely do. Tesla's the #1 stock. The weighting is 3.25%. You want to just talk about the move in that stock this week and what it means to you in context of how you built this and where you think it can go?
Yes, Tesla has, in our research product, had been appearing since inception, since 2019, because that company has a hidden asset, which is its AI and intellectual property. And now, of course, the intellectual property built around all this infrastructure they own. So it's a company that, to us, looks undervalued because people look at it as a car maker and look at current margins and earnings. But as we know, there's a lot of new initiatives, whether it's robotaxi and robots, and now, of course, there is a political angle that you guys well discussed, and I think it can only help Tesla.
Tom, be well. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate you. It's Tom Lee, Fundstrat.
So, Tom Lee, isn't it refreshing to see this analyst talking about Tesla as an AI company? You and I just did a show we probably published a day ago where we covered 8 analysts, and they are just still talking about Tesla as an auto company, and then regulations will allow robotaxi to improve. But he still believes it's a hidden asset. What do you think of what he said about Tesla?
And Tom Lee mentions robots.
Yeah.
which none of the other analysts mentioned. Now, robots are, thematically part of the AI story, but Tom Lee understands this company very well, and it's very refreshing to see. So, I'm aligned with him 100%. If I had an ETF, if I were running an ETF, Tesla would be right at the top.
And what do you think about this whole thing about a hidden asset of AI? So people believe that with the jump of Tesla stock recently, they're attributing it to not only the regulation removal because of the Trump admin, because of Elon's relationship, but because more and more are believing in robotaxi. Do you think this hidden asset of AI is still at the beginning? Are we already well into this for investors?
No, the story of AI has not been written yet. What we're at is the very early beginnings of the story of AI. We don't even know the forms that AI is going to take. We're really stuck in the early days of how to build these large language models, or these large models, what their capabilities actually are, and where it's going to take us. I think that if any company is in the perfect position to, exploit AI, it is Tesla. And as AI leads us through surprising future, very surprising future, I think we're going to find more and more product capability or products to be built on top of that that Tesla are going to bring to market, because they are, their product genius is just unequaled anywhere in the world.
Larry, I think it's right to say that Fundstrat and specifically Tom Lee is well respected.
Yeah.
Now that they've created not only a recommendation for Tesla, but actually has a large cap ETF that includes Tesla, that is Tesla's one of the top picks. Him talking about Tesla being an AI company, is that going to be influential to other funds who wants to choose what to buy? They'll look at Tom Lee and go, "Hey, I respect this guy. I respect what they're doing. If they pick it, we ought to pick it too."
Absolutely. He's got a lot of influence, a huge amount of influence on the street. He'll be watched very carefully, and when people see his pick, I mean, it just adds to the credibility of the company. So we're going to see a lot of, firstly, S&P companies are going to have to build their numbers up, and we're going to see a lot of PMs, portfolio managers, also picking Tesla moving forward, and it's going to increase the ownership of the stock. I don't know if the move of the stock in the last couple of days, since the election and since the investor meeting and the great deliveries, I don't know to what extent we've fully priced in all of that, and we've fully priced in the political aspects. But there's no doubt that when we see moves like this, we're adding to the story, we're adding to the appeal, and we're making Tesla, great again. So
yeah,
I think we're on our way.
So, right, what happens obviously is like, retail investors spot an opportunity. We see a growth company, we buy into it. Then for years, we've been like banging our heads against the wall. Why aren't the institutional analysts seeing what we see? Now, because of the Trump win, you see them raise their upgrades not only by $10 or $5, which is what they did 3 weeks ago. Remember that? We were having fun with them going, everybody upgraded everything, but they did it by $5.
Yeah.
Now they're doing it by $50, by $100. Yeah. And then you've got like Fundstrat and these, like bigger names doing this. Does this now really turn this into a FOMO where others will start buying into it big time? Is that what's going to see next?
I think you're right on target. Look, I predicted $300 by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Boy, was I way out. I mean, I couldn't have been more wrong. Directionally, I had it right, but man, it just ran over my prediction just before.
No, I mean, it takes a lot of guts to actually even say 300, because when you were saying that, the sentiment, even from us bulls, were so low that nobody was willing to say 300.
Yeah.
And now it's well past that. Any chance that Warren Buffett would ever do this? I know then it's almost 0% chance, because the
Zero.
PE is just not there. There's nothing
Absolutely
he's in.
zero.
He's racking up the cash, and he sold a little bit of his Apple, and he's not doing buybacks. And he's like, people are wondering if he's preparing for a recession.
I think he saw a move down. I think he's surprised by this move up. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he had predicted a serious problem around the election. But look, Warren Buffett is 94 or 95. He's getting on. There's going to be a transition. He's preparing for that transition. So I don't think the short term means that much to him. I think he's preparing something very strategic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. You have somebody like a Fundstrat, Tom Lee, like very, very bullish. Right, talking about the year-end rally. He goes, it may start pulling back in the new year. Then you've got him choosing Tesla. I've had Mark Newton, who is his technical analyst, the head of Fundstrat, on 3 times, and what he predicts for Tesla, he was dead on. Right, he called the absolute low of 140 in April. He then called that it's going to hit 270, which it did, and he said that once it hits 270, it's on its way to 300, which is where we're at now. He's saying that Tesla will hit its all-time high in the first quarter or second quarter of next year. Somewhere in those 6 months, it's going to go up to all-time high,
right.
Past all-time high. And he says once it hits past all-time high, it's free sailing all the way to 565 or some crazy number.
I mean, I have very similar views. I don't know about his timing. He's pretty precise, and he's been very precise in his timing. And I listened very carefully to that session because I have huge amount of respect for him. He's looking at technicals, and I'm just thinking about the product rollout. We've got some very, very good news coming next year in terms of product rollout. We've got, I'm telling you, FSD is getting so good. I just see 2025. I see us rolling out the robotaxi fleet, probably in assisted, with driving assisted for the first 3-4 months. So I think he's on target, and whether it happens that early in the year or a little bit late in the year, it's going to happen in my judgment. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting time for us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your comments. Follow Larry on his X account at Tesla Larry. Thanks, everybody. Bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.